Welcome to Legends of Grayskull, the podcast that dives deep into the mythology of Masters of the Universe, with your hosts Matthew Dooch and Shawn Scavana. News, reviews, remasterings and more are just ahead on Legends of Grayskull.
Hello everybody and welcome to Legends of Grayskull presents MOTU March Madness. I'm Matthew Dooch, here again with Shawn Scavana over there. There he is. Shawn, how are we doing tonight?
Doing okay. I'm just amused that this is the one podcast out there in March that will prove two white men can't jump.
Wait.
There you go. I said it.
Did I do it?
I can hop. I'm like a bunny, but I can't really jump. I'm not He-Man. You know what I mean?
We're hopping around. Sorry. Prior to Grayskull, welcome. Jay, how you doing, buddy? I lost you there. There you are. Haha. Evening, dudes. Let's do this. Absolutely. And thanks to all of you guys who have jumped in so far. We're going to give a couple minutes here. Let people filter in. But yeah, the first round went very nicely. We got a lot of participation. Yeah, it's a good time. Shawn, how'd you enjoy this week?
I was surprised that watching, because the one thing about this is obviously we're not going to be voting. So it's fun to be on the outside just watching how things are panning out. And even behind the scenes, you and I were talking like, this matchup went a little differently than we might have expected or whatever. Yeah, so it is kind of fun to see the listeners and the fans and everybody joining in and having their say here. So pretty fun.
So real quick here, we'll run back through for those of you who haven't been following along. But so we came up with our Sweet 16 of Classics action figures. We then randomly seeded them last Monday. And then from Wednesday through Saturday, we had 2 games each day as they pitting the figures against each other. So to recap right quick here, we had Ratlord versus Evelyn, He-Man versus Clawful, Too Bad versus Mossman, Beastman versus Whiplash, Leech versus Trapjaw, Fisto versus Snake Armor He-Man, Buzzoff versus Merman, and God Skeletor versus Intergalactic Skeletor. So, going into the week, what did you think the closest matchup was going to be?
Closest matchup? Let's see. I was curious. It's not the one that I was most excited about, but I was curious to see how God Skeletor and New Adventures worked out, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because
I can see that.
I don't have God Skeletor, but I do have I had New Adventures at one point, and I'm still impressed by that figure from like top to bottom. It's a great figure, and it is fun that we got God Skeletor finally, or whatever, got Hyper Skeletor or whatever they were calling him. And so that one, especially with it being 2 Skeletors, but there were some that I thought it was going to be a runaway, and they weren't. So, like I said, that was, props to the fans, props to everybody who was voting. You guys definitely made this week not a very, we already figured who was going to win in this or whatever.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of surprising ones. I think for me, honestly, Buzzoff and Merman, I thought that was going to be a really close race. Just because, I don't know, like when you think of Classics figures, there are certain ones you think of right off the bat, you know. Mm-hmm. I mean, Trapjaw, Fisto. I mean, like, those are names that just come up, like, immediately in conversation. But Buzzoff, Merman, those are kind of two, kind of in the middle of the pack. And them getting seated against each other was like, this could actually be a toss-up here. So, but yeah, we'll switch over here and we'll start going through and letting you guys know who's eliminated and who survives on. I'm just going to create a quick post here to let people know, because I didn't drop the link earlier. So let's see if people are having trouble finding it. And so, yeah, we'll go through each game here. And we'll say who we would have voted for. And then we'll reveal who actually won. Okay. So first up... okay, here we go. We got some guys trickling in here. Manny Gonzalez, welcome. Scott Baker, hey, fellas. What's up, Scott? And I believe I saw all of you guys vote during the week, so thank you. Let me switch over here. Okay. Nope, that's showing our YouTube because I did not switch over. Now it's showing our bracket because I know how to do things. All right. So first up, our number 2 seed Evil Lynn versus our number 15 seed Ratlore. Shawn, who would you have voted for?
That one, I admitted to you when we talked privately. That one was one where I'm just like, I got nothing. Like, neither one of those figures does a lot for me, but I guess if I go for the nostalgia vote on it, it would probably be Evil Lynn because Ratlore has never been in my collection in any way, shape, or form.
Oh, for shame, for shame.
I know. The best version is 2000X, in my opinion. I will say that for Ratlore. I love that version.
I would have gone Ratlore. Because this is the yellow-skinned Evil Lynn, who has never done much for me, even though that obviously is the vintage, look.
Yep.
So, but according to our viewers, Ratlore got 1 vote. And Evil Lynn got 7. So Evil Lynn takes it 7-1. She advances to the next round. Okay, next up we got He-Man versus Clawful. Now this is one that we talked about behind the scenes. Because, now for me, when I'm looking at this and kind of what I put out there, I mean, everyone do what you want, vote how you want, but I put out there, I'd really like us to look at this as a classics action figure, not necessarily like He-Man's the man. He's so important to the story. He's a must-have in any line. But figure-wise, for me, Clawful is the superior figure. All right? That's just my personal thing. So I would have gone for Clawful. And I definitely could see this being a runaway just because it's He-Man. He's so important to the story, But so kind of looking at it from a classics action figure point, I had to go with Clawful. The detailing to the armor to make it more shell-like, just while still maintaining that goofiness of the vintage figure and the big claw, just everything I've loved. I've always loved my monsters and my beasts, so I would go for Clawful. How about you?
Well, I appreciate that they did go the extra mile with Clawful. The armor is definitely one of the more fun ones that they updated, and they definitely did like the crustacean feel to the back of it is really cool. And yes, the giant claw is always going to be a draw on Clawful, and I did not mean that to rhyme. But at the end of the day, and it's not just because he's He-Man, but there is this, that is the basis of everything you're about to get in this line. When you see both King Grayskull and you see He-Man, which is basically the same buck anyway. And for me as a kid, I always hated that the power sword had that look. We always had a half a power sword. And there was always this feeling of they could have done a little bit better. And in the case of He-Man for this line, I always felt they did exactly the way I always wanted to see it. They gave us the full power sword and the half power sword. They have a lot of good stuff with the paint apps going on. The details and everything. He was the first figure I opened in the entire line, and it was literally like the sky opened up, the beam from heaven came down to light me, and I'm holding this figure going, I love you. And I didn't get that feeling when I opened Clawful. I just was like, I have Clawful on the shelf. He-Man, I took a long time to enjoy and just dazzle at those details and everything. So He-Man, definitely for me.
I feel sorry for you, and may God have mercy on your soul.
He won't.
Real quick before I reveal it, Welcome to the chat. Identity theft is not a joke, Jim. Welcome back, buddy. It's been a minute since we've seen you. It's been a minute since we've been live regularly. We got to get back to that.
Yeah.
So,
true.
Let's see here. So I thought this was going to be. While I wanted Clawful, I thought for sure this was going to be a blowout He-Man. I thought most people would agree with you. So, our viewers voted, and we have He-Man with 7 points, and Clawful with 6 points. He-Man narrowly escapes
yes.
it. He barely advances to the next round. As identity theft is not a joke, Jim says he's Flea Man. So that means in the quarterfinals, it will be He-Man versus Evil Lynn. Toy Huntress has joined us. Welcome. How are we doing today, Rachel?
Very nice.
So next up, we've got Too Bad and Moss Man. Who'd you pick here, Shawn? Or who?
Well, I feel bad because I know Rachel is married to Matt Rodriguez, and he is the biggest Moss Man fan I've ever met my entire life. But I have always thought Too Bad was a really cool figure from the vintage all the way through classics. Right. And he would have definitely been my choice in this case.
Yep. Finally we agree. Too Bad all the way. he's too iconic. He's a creature as well. And so this went up for a vote, and Moss Man took a whopping 5 points, and Too Bad took a whopping 5 points.
Mm-hmm.
So we had, Scott Baker says he missed the tiebreaker vote, but we had to go to a tiebreaker. So I did a shortened window, do or die overtime rules. And basically everyone got another chance to vote on Facebook and Instagram. And don't worry, guys, we did come up with plans for double overtime and triple overtime. So we have many options to pursue if need be. That is not needed here. After the tiebreaker round, Too Bad advanced to 7 points, and Moss Man advanced to 9 points. The Moss Man takes it 9-7, and that is without Matthew Rodriguez voting, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a surprising thing to go from that split, and all of a sudden, all the Moss Man fans just came out when they saw the tiebreaker there.
Yeah.
So
no kidding. Team Green Machine right there.
Pride of Grayskull says yes, Mossy. Toy Huntress says, oh yeah. Yeah, that's what she sounds like, Macho Man. So.
Oh yeah! Slam into a Slim Jim.
Slam into a Moss Man.
Slam into a Moss Man.
Scott Baker says it's all my fault. Too bad I let you down. So he must have voted for Too Bad originally. And Manny says he picked Too Bad, but he before I revealed it, he felt he probably lost.
Scott, how could you? How could you, Scott?
All right.
How could you?
Beast Man Whiplash. Now, I didn't say this beforehand, but because I didn't want to taint anything, but Shawn and I each got to pick a wild card. That's the one thing about being the host, right? So we actually had, out of the Sweet 16, our Legendati group voted for 14 of those. I threw one in, and Shawn threw one in. Outside of the 14 they voted for, just trying one of our favorites. And I had to go Whiplash I just felt he was a real miss in the voting, and he's just a fantastic figure. So obviously I would have gone Whiplash here.
Mm-hmm. And for me, I'm gonna be the way I am with you all the time. Beastman would have been my boy here because again, classics for me just knocked this one out of the park. Can't say enough good about him, and it still blows my mind he was only released the first time. They never re-released the poor guy even. So
Yep.
yeah.
Let's see if they agreed with you. Real quick here, Matthew Rodriguez has joined the chat. Matthew, I am disappointed in you. He's got the M, the generic Google M as his icon. He has not even taken the time to put like an Ideas from Mars light bulb or
I was thinking that, yeah.
one of his dinosaurs or anything. And he says,
or
Mossman. You guys are doing this without me? I have tagged you and everything. We have invited you on many times. You keep ditching us, sir. Manny says he preferred Whiplash, and Pride of Grayskull says, Hail the Legendati. Okay. So Beastman, Whiplash. Beastman took a whopping 9-point lead over Whiplash, and Whiplash managed to only get 1 vote. Wah, wah, wah. I'm the only one who likes Whiplash. And it all comes down to the seeding, so... let's see, what do we got? Toy Huntress is just laughing her butt off. Matt Rod says Mossman to the final 4. Toy Huntress agrees with him. Surprise, surprise. Identity theft is not a joke, Jim. Says, way to go, Matthew. You got called out by the douche. And Pride of Grayskull says that he'll be walking away with his tail between his legs. I love you, Matt Rod. All right. Next up, we had Leech versus Trapjaw. As much as I do love Leech, yeah, Trapjaw. I mean, hands down, what they did with him, the extra Cronus parts, 2 figures in 1. The jaw and the was done very well on this figure, especially how it connects to his missing, where his real jaw should be. Just hands down, like I said, Trapjaw just comes up automatically whenever you're talking the best figures. So he's definitely gonna go far in this, no matter what.
Yeah, same here. Trapjaw, no, hands down. Like for me, Leech is always one of the lesser Horde characters in interest visually. So it's like, okay, you have them, but then there's that like, all right, it's Leech. You know, like at least with others, you could do a little bit more. So it's like, hey, window. That's about the extent of it.
And yeah, everyone pretty much agreed. Leech got 3 points and Trapjaw got 8 points. So Trapjaw advances on. I did forget to say, so it'll be Beastman and Mossman in the quarterfinals. So.
Or they just become each other.
Yeah, that's kind of funny that it wound up that way.
Yeah.
Next, we've got... first off, Scott Baker says we have such a disregard for Leech. Now, I think he's a great Horde villain. It just he's no Trapjaw. Again, that seeding really hurt him there. And Manny says Trapjaw definitely should have dominated. So. Okay, next up we got Fisto and Snake Armor He-Man. Now, Shawn, how did Snake Armor He-Man get into this?
He was my wild card, and I had no idea he was going to go up against Fisto of all characters. So now, this is the one where it's Sophie's choice for me. Like, I love Snake Armor He-Man, but Fisto is still a freaking great classics figure. So this was probably the hardest one out of all the ones that we have for me.
Would you even picked?
Honestly, I think the way I'd have to lean is Fisto because of the versatility on him. That is the only thing I think that for me puts him over Snake Armor He-Man, because Snake Armor He-Man has so much detail, but you can do vintage Fisto and 2000X Fisto for the most part, like a passable 2000X. And he comes with a lot of variety compared to Snake Armor, who only has the pincer and the sword. So,
yeah, I think,
or if you buy him in the 2-pack, you do get a King Hiss at least, but that doesn't quite count. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. Fisto is an amazing character. Every once in a while, though, I like to go underdog, so I would have gone Snake Armor He-Man here.
Oh,
Well, and as you know, it's Mythic Legion's voting, right? I voted for a couple guys where I'm like, they're probably not going to make it, but maybe I can throw some weight behind there. So this is one where I think it's so, stacked that I'm like, I'll throw it behind Snake Armor He-Man. Maybe he'll get close. And so actually, our final score was actually Fisto 6 and Snake Armor He-Man 3. So not quite the blowout you would have expected.
no. I said they're two really good figures,
Right.
so it's really hard. Like I'm happy it was that close. I'm glad it wasn't like a blowout with Fisto winning, but yeah, both of them are great.
And so that makes the quarterfinal for that Fisto versus Trapjaw. So again, two of the best figures, routinely in this line.
Nice. That's gonna be a good one.
That'll be a good one. So, real quick here, we're gonna have some trouble in the Rodriguez house because apparently. Yeah, Toy Hunter says my favorite versus Matthew's favorite. So Beastman versus Mossman.
That's right. I forgot he likes Beastman. That's right.
There's gonna be some tension in the house this coming week. So
somebody's sleeping on the couch. It probably won't be Rachel.
And real quick here, I lost it. I lost my things. There it is. Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah, people are talking. It's awesome. We love you guys. Hang on one second. Let me just send this. Okay, so next up we have Buzz-Off versus Merman. So this was the one that I thought could be real tight. So let's see how close it got. So who was your pick there? Buzz-Off, Merman, Shawn?
Out of the two of them, I always like the blue Merman because that's different. But since it was the green one, I went with Buzz-Off in my head because Buzz-Off, he's always been a fun figure to me.
Oh, I think we've got our field correspondent calling in here. So let's see here. Let's see what happens. Let's see how this looks. There he is. All right. Field correspondent Matthew Rodriguez. How are we doing? Oh, I don't know if I can show this on YouTube. We're going to find out. We might get shut down here.
Oh.
He also has no audio.
Is he naked?
That definitely looks like the tub.
Hey,
what's up, man?
March Madness is crazy.
Yep.
There's always stuff going on. Games all day long. Even in the middle of my bracket, I had to take a bath because I felt a little dirty.
Sure. Well, and you're just in time because we're getting to Merman and Buzz-Off. So
Oh.
Yeah, I think
water theme.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's what you got? What are you guys thinking on this one?
What did you just say? I was messing with getting Matt in the tub while you were.
Yeah.
That sounds wrong.
I went with Buzz-Off just because I always thought he's a fun-looking character in and of himself. So.
Okay, he's going Buzz-Off. Matt Rod, who abstained from all voting this week, by the way. Mossman could have used your help there.
Yeah.
First of all, I told you that I had to because the bracket's too hard. MOTU, any other property, I can honestly give you a cut and dry winner loser. For MOTU, I just can't. The creativity is too vast. The colorful characters, it's just too hard for me. I had to stay out of this one. That's my personal thing. But this particular one, Merman versus who'd you say?
Buzz-Off. Buzz off. Yep.
Buzz off.
The jerk.
The
I'm in the
jerk.
tub. You would think I would say merman, but merman kind of has the whole, every universe has its aquatic guy, and I think that works against a merman in this boat. And Buzz Off, once they added those extra little wings on him and gave him a little bit more of that insect look or appeal, I think he has my vote on this one.
Okay. And I got to go against the grain. I've got to go merman. Getting that card back head along with the sword, well done, well sculpted. The extra gills, around his neck. I just really think pretty much the same reason you want Buzz Off, I want Merman in this because they really bumped him up.
I can see that.
And to your point, before we get into the results here, trust me, Shawn and I struggled with this. And because, especially classics, right? I sat there and I typed out all 209 figures to do that initial voting. So, definitely it is huge. And this is kind of our Sweet 16 MOTU March Madness. This is, let's get our feet wet as you are now. And let's work out the kinks. And we're already in talks next year about how we're going to expand and, get a little better representation off the get-go. So don't worry, this is going to continue to grow and will be a lot more fun in years to come. But for now, Scott Baker wants to know if you have a merman in the tub with you. Toy Huntress simply says, wow. So you might be having a discussion there later. And Manny says to put your kids to bed.
Like I said, I had to jump in here because I really wanted to apologize. I was not ignoring all of your tags as far as March Madness went, but I just wanted to say sorry. I cannot partake in a full MOTU bracket because it is too hard for me. It's literally already causing a divide between me and my wife.
Oh, sure.
And Shawn said maybe somebody on the couch. It's actually somebody in the tub.
Right,
in the tub,
that's reference to a Full House episode about 20 years ago.
Oh, that was Stephanie in the tub, right?
Stephanie in the tub. She took over the bathroom.
Yeah. We all had that moment. All right, Buzz Off, Merman. So Buzz Off got 3 points in his favor, and Merman got 10. So Merman solidly knocks the bee, squashes him out of the sky.
Yeah.
I did not expect that.
Yeah, like I said, that was my pick for nail biter of the week. So
yeah.
But shows what I know about what the fans want. Last up here, you got time to stick around, or are you pruny yet?
Nope. I'm not that wrinkly yet. I'm good.
Okay. So we've got our final matchup of the week. Interesting seeding. The number 1 seed of God Skeletor from the William Stout collection versus the New Adventures Intergalactic Skeletor. Yeah. What you thinking, Matt Rod?
I'm thinking, for a lot of people, the classics really took New Adventures and opened the fans' eyes to the creativity and how cool it wiped away the dirty taste of that cartoon.
Yep.
And it just really cemented New Adventures as a true part of He-Man. In my opinion, that's what the Toyland was able to do. So I mean, looking at that Galactic Skeletor figure, New Adventures, it was the detail and just the creativity again. I think that this one is going to be closer. I think I know who's going to win, but I think this is going to be closer than people would assume.
Okay. No, and I agree that and just the way the Horsemen showed that those New Adventures designs could work for a He-Man line was amazing. Just by bulking them up, getting the shared parts instead of the thinner model that they were. But my vote would have had to have gone to God Skeletor. Just from the moment I saw the 87 movie, I loved it. And, seeing that perfect representation of that on-screen deity would have sealed it for me. Shawn? I know you're distracted by the washing of the hair, aren't you?
Yeah.
I only got it on the back right now. It's not very much on the top anymore.
He's worth it. That's all there is to it. So I got to agree with Matt Rod. The New Adventures Skeletor completely blew my mind. I'm like, wow, this is a take on Skeletor. Like, they didn't reapply it to many others. It felt like that was its own thing more than some of the other characters, and that face sculpt is freaking, like, it's actually kind of nightmarish the way it is. So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Oh, and they made that helmet come off too. I mean, we got it.
Yeah.
You know, and you got to see all the nasty cybernetics and everything.
Exactly.
Exactly. Catching up with the chat here, Mannigan. Well, Pride of Grayskull has a bunch of symbols, so apparently he was not happy about Buzz Off as much as, just like you guys. Manny says Merman dominated. Toy Huntress says he blew him out the water. So, I love the puns. You're a lucky man.
Yeah.
Scott Baker says, "Won't my mommy be so proud of me? I must have missed something there." And Manny says he went with Alan Oppenheimer Skeletor in this one, which was not an option. So sorry, Manny, but that did not count.
There's no write-in votes. What the heck?
No is the bracket, and that's it. So for our final matchup here, God Skeletor got the highest single point total at 12 to Intergalactic Skeletor's 1. So 12 to 1, landslide. Biggest spread, biggest single point total. God Skeletor is relishing in that number 1 seed. And so our final...
That's what a 1 seed does.
That's right. Yeah. You got to dominate. You got to just stick it to them, show everyone who's boss. So our quarter-final matchups for this coming week, we have God Skeletor versus Merman. We've got Fisto versus Trapjaw, Beastman versus Mossman, and He-Man versus Evil Lyn. Those are some tough ones. So
very tough.
We'll go through the same days this Wednesday through Saturday, but there'll just be one game a day. So it'll kick off with He-Man and Evil Lyn on Wednesday, finishing off with God Skeletor Merman on Saturday. Real quick, guys, what is your pick of the week? What's your nail biter, your close game here? I don't want to pick the winners because I don't want to taint anybody's vote. But just which of those matchups do you think is going to be the one to watch?
Matt Rod, go for it first.
I think the one that, I just feel like after taking out Buzz Off the way he did, I think that Merman has momentum going into this next game.
Sure.
I think when you grab a victory like that, I think that you come in with momentum, and I think that that's going to be a tough matchup coming in. I think that that's going to be my pick to watch.
Yeah. Those were two dominating performances for Merman and God Skeletor. So them having to come against each other, it's going to be tough. Shawn, how about you?
For me, the aliens or contact aliens. For me, I think no matter which way we go, Trapjaw versus Fisto it's going to be a heartbreak one way or the other because both of them, again, great figures. And I love both of them for different reasons. And that one to me is another Sophie's choice. So, holy God. But I will say, He-Man, do not put down that power sword because we all know Evelyn will straddle you and grind all that she wants to get that sword away from you. We've seen it happen before.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
She plays
Let's
dirty.
don't fall for the dirty tricks, dude. It only ends badly with Evelyn.
And I agree with you, Fisto Trapjaw. That's my game to watch of the week. Those names just get bandied about too often in these kind of discussions for them to have to meet each other this early. I mean, both of them, Fisto and Trapjaw, I talked to them before, and they really were hoping that they wouldn't have to face each other until, the finals. So
not this soon. It's too soon to see those two players go against each other.
Exactly.
You're going to have a lot of brackets broken definitely after this matchup.
100%. Catching up with the chat here, Toy Huntress went for God Skeletor, so she did help him advance. She says she cannot wait for this coming week, and that Moss Man is going down. Looks like the chat's pretty much in consensus that Beast Man Moss Man is going to be the match of the week. And Scott Baker would like both Rachel and Matthew Rodriguez to know that his vote is always for sale. So if you guys want to reach out to Scott Baker, he could help one of you out.
Scott is a very wise person. I think this Scott guy's got it going on. I don't know. I think he does.
I've been seeing more of Scott Baker in the groups, and I am fond of him. And I definitely his name has come up more recently than not, and I can't wait to see what this guy's all about.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I'm sure Moss Man would approve of him, right?
Yeah, I know that.
Plus, he is the fan that he drilled a little bit more of the hole in that bottom of the CGI He-Man to let him have his surfboard of power, which is awesome.
I don't want to go off the rails, but
you always do.
For a show that is for kids, as soon as you see how big his power sword is, and he's riding lightning like a surfboard, I couldn't have been more happy and couldn't have been more, why didn't I think of that? Visually, it's just cool.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And what I really liked about it is not only it looks cool, it's awesome, but it's also like they're still playing by their rules. They didn't just give He-Man the ability to fly, which very easily happens in shows like this for kids. They set the rules. He's got to call down the lightning, and he kind of uses it.
He's riding the lightning.
Right.
It's beautiful.
He's falling with style. That's all he's doing.
Yes.
And every once in a while he catches an updraft. But I hate when things are just thrown there and it's like, oh, he can do this now. No, you have to stick with your rules, and they did. And it didn't change his power set. It's just him using his mind to adapt to the situation he was in.
Love it.
Love it.
Agreed.
All right, guys. Stay tuned. MOTU March Madness continues. Facebook, Instagram. I haven't heard anyone complain that they're not on one of those two platforms at least. If you're on both of them, put 2 votes in. We have no problem with that. So thanks, everybody, for participating. And we look forward to this week's matchups starting Wednesday. Tune in daily, and then we'll be back here. We're just going to say Mondays because Sundays never work out. So Monday night, we'll be back here to discuss round 2. Thanks to our field reporter, Matthew Rodriguez, for phoning in. Real quick here, we do have one last comment. It says it's from Toy Huntress. But the quote is, Moss Man is bad from Levi. So, apparently the house is...
So there you go. I already told you I can't vote on this stuff. Literally, your March Madness is tearing my family apart.
House divided.
Absolutely.
My wife is turning my son against me.
Yeah. Levi also says that he likes Moss Man because he had hair.
So does Beast Man technically, but it's just sculpted.
I think that he's poking the bear.
I'm sure. Yeah, my kids would do the same
100%.
with me. I get it completely, but yeah.
Oh. Thanks, everybody, for
folks.
tuning in. See us. Come back next week, and we'll let you know whose couch Matt is bumming on. So, until next time, guys, we'll see you.